Let's talk about the NHL draft. The NHL draft has always been one of my favorite events that the NHL does. And obviously, over the weekend, we saw round one take place on Friday, and rounds 2 through 7 take place on Saturday. And this is our second time now seeing the NHL do the decentralized version of the draft, meaning the team's front office staff, the GMs, all those guys aren't in the building of the draft. They are in their home city in the War Room HQ, whatever the NHL called it. And in this video, we're going to be talking about whether or not the NHL has ruined the NHL draft. By going to this new version, it really has just severely lacked in recent years, and an event that used to feel so special. And I'm not the only one who thinks that the NHL draft is not as good as it once was, and I'm also not alone in saying that the NHL draft is one of the best events that the NHL used to put on. And I just remember growing up as a kid and being able to see these kids starting their next journey, starting their next chapter, going up and shaking the hands of the team that drafted them, getting the picture with the team that drafted them. And now we've gotten to the point where the only picture that gets taken is with the player that gets selected and Gary Bettman, or if there was a celebrity pick. And not only do I think that it has hurt the experience of the NHL draft, but I also think that it has severely hurt the production side of the NHL draft. One of the best things about how the NHL draft used to run was seeing these teams run, seeing the general managers on the phone, working a trade out, stuff like that, stuff that we don't typically get to see. This was always one of my favorite parts of the NHL draft. And now, with the GMs not being in the building, we don't get to see that anymore. And I think it, again, has severely hurt the production side of the NHL draft because now you have ESPN that is trying to fill time with whatever. And it just creates just a mess. And I hate to say it, but what we saw on Friday night might have been one of the worst first overall picks announced ever. And that's me not hating on Justin Bieber. That's me not hating on the Toronto Maple Leafs or whatever it is. It was just so weird with Justin Bieber awkwardly walking up through the middle on the draft floor between all of the draft eligible players. It was just so awkward. And then the pick that he made, it was just so weird. And him saying, Gavin McKenna, the Toronto Maple Leafs select, like, it sounded like he was choosing a Pokemon or something. Like, and this was the first overall pick. And look, I'm not hating on teams having a celebrity guest pick. I'm not hating on the celebrity involvement side of things, but I just miss how it used to be and how it always used to feel special and important and like this big prestigious moment because it is. And again, you have some celebrities who do it very, very well. Justin Bieber, in my opinion, did not. With how sports have gotten so mainstream over the years, I was waiting for the NHL to start doing stuff like this. But again, I just feel like for it to be the first overall pick, having Justin Bieber awkwardly just walk up the draft floor, awkwardly announce Gavin McKenna as the first pick, I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me. And then don't even get me started with the whole fireplace couch segments because those are just absolutely horrible. I'm terribly sorry. They are horrible. The poor kids that just got drafted just look so awkward sitting up there. And rightfully so, because you just had one of the biggest moments of your life, and I'm sure the adrenaline is through the roof. And the last thing that you're thinking about doing is sitting on a couch in front of a fake fireplace being asked a bunch of questions that you're not even really thinking of. And this isn't something that we really saw take place when all of the NHL staff was at the draft. And it wasn't just like it was awkward at this draft only, it was equally as awkward at last year's draft. And just how the entire night was run from ESPN. And I'm not necessarily blaming ESPN. And look, I'll be the first to come at ESPN. I'm not necessarily blaming them on this one. The poor four people on the panel for ESPN, they were just doing their best. And look, I'm a big fan of John Butchergrass. I know he gets a fair amount of hate. I think he does a fantastic job. Kevin Weeks, I'm okay with. I think he can be really cringe, which, ironically enough, just fits the NHL perfectly. I also think that Emily Kaplan does a very good job. Megan Chaika, I can't really tell you a whole lot because it feels like the only time that we see her working on ESPN in the NHL is for the draft. So I'm not necessarily blaming ESPN for this, but it was more so just the NHL just not knowing how to run a show. And don't even get me started on the whole Billy Guerin thing, because that just drove me insane. Coming from somebody who went to school for broadcasting and got to learn the ins and outs of what it takes to put on a show and to put on a production like that, it drove me insane watching just the countless production blunders from the NHL. And Billy Guerin, poor Billy Guerin, like that was so bad because you would expect that after the NHL just announced that Billy Guerin won the GM of the Year award, you would expect them to talk to Billy Guerin. And it would have been so much easier had Billy Guerin actually been in Buffalo for the draft. But instead, Gary Bettman just goes up to the podium and makes the next pick anyway, while Billy Guerin is just awkwardly standing there behind him on the screen. And then we don't even get to hear from the guy for the next several picks. It was just so bad. So, what can the NHL do to try to fix the NHL draft? Maybe it is adding a actual host and not putting all the weight onto Gary Bettman's shoulders, because again, the NHL, the one thing that they can consistently get right is how to make a show just downright cringy. And Gary Bettman leads the charge. Like when they had Josh Doan and another player from the Buffalo Bills out with Gary Bettman to welcome the NHL draft, and the Bills player was trying to get the rest of the crowd to do the hey, only for Gary Bettman to just stand there so awkwardly in the middle and just going, hey, into the microphone. Like, Gary Bettman needs someone to host the NHL draft because he just cannot do it himself. I'm sorry. So that would be one thing that I think desperately needs to happen at next year's draft, is having someone to come in and be the host and kind of control what needs to be controlled, because Gary Bettman can't do it. I'm sorry. I need to see the GMs back on the draft floor. And I get why the NHL is doing it. And I get that it's the GMs who wanted the draft to be like this. So it is really kind of out of Gary Bettman's hands because he's got to listen to the general managers. And I get why the NHL went down this route, but it has taken what was such a special night, such a prestigious night, and has made it into something that is borderline unwatchable. From Justin Bieber just completely butchering the first overall pick announcement to the awkward as heck conversations on the couch in front of a fake fireplace to the blunder with Billy Guerin. This year's NHL draft was on a different level of bad from a production side. And again, I'm not blaming ESPN for once in all of this. ESPN has their faults with the NHL. That's well documented and that's no secret. But this one was not on them. This was on the NHL failing to put on a quality production of a show. And another thing that I've completely forgotten to mention throughout the course of this video is the whole trade alert thing. Just make the trade announcement. I don't need to see a group of fans awkwardly wonder what's going on from section 300 when the NHL makes a trade. I don't need to see that. Just announce the trade. So while I did forget to mention this throughout the course of this video, it's something that should rightfully go on the list of just things that went so bad for the NHL. And what makes this even worse is that the NHL rehearsed night one of the NHL draft. That's what makes this even worse, is that the NHL rehearsed all of this and it still came out to be a mess. So that's enough of me ranting about the NHL draft. This is where I want to hear from you guys. Has the NHL ruined the NHL draft? Let me know why you think they have. Let me know why you think they haven't. And let me know your reasons as to why you think that the NHL has either ruined or made the draft better. And let me know what you would change from the NHL draft. So, as always, don't forget to leave all of your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in the description for a reason. That is because it'll take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. Currently, right now, we are only on Instagram and X. And I will say the Instagram page does get a little more tender love and care. That is how this entire page started in the first place. So if you do enjoy these videos and you're looking for some extra content, again, Linktree link in the description. It'll take you to wherever you want to go. So with all that said and finally done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Again, both are free. Both really help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here, because it genuinely does mean the world to me. And as always, stay tuned for more hockey and jersey content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.